Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Fitness Friday Positives with Rachelle, folks, where it's always great to be here with you on another Fitness Friday, the best day of the week. Gotta love it. Folks, last week talked about adversity, and adversity is so important because like I stated last week, and I feel like I say that ad nauseum, just not only of course professionally, but also personally. It is so important for us to just understand that adversity is a fundamental and undeniable reality for all of our lives. So we just have to have the right mindset, the right mentality to keep on keeping on, to persevere and not give up in the face of adversity. And I look forward to discussing some additional fitness trends here in this episode. But before I forget, you'll see here, I have a new addition here. You see my Edge Fitness winter hat that I received on February 10th, the last week, at the grand opening for the 40th location of Edge Fitness. And now that was on my calendar, had it on my calendar for a while. And when I was in Louisiana and then my trip got delayed, as I talked about last week, I was just hoping I was going to be back in time. And then it ended up being in February, and it worked out, and was so excited to go there, spend my traditional, my customary 5 or 6 minutes at the grand opening and then take off. Because, my philosophy, I'm already a member, particularly in that instance, already a member, but certainly it brought me back to September 28th, 2019, when they had the grand opening, the grand opening for the first location in Michigan. It's like, woo, now we have several locations. So I am proud to showcase they gave those hats out to the folks standing in line. And, downstairs in the lower level of Rachelle's Home Fitness Center, you have the t-shirt that they were giving to folks in line for the Farmington Hills location, my club, for that grand opening. So that's downstairs. And I don't wear and sport any type of gym fitness swag outside of my house, but certainly within my house, I make the rules here at Rachelle's home, Rachelle's abode. So it is absolutely cool for me to display this because I don't do fit referrals to gyms and studios and all of that, but I absolutely have every right to display any type of swag that I want. You remember when I was a member of Planet, when I got the New Year's hat, I also sported it on some episodes as well. So happy to show my Edge Fitness swag as a member, but also to happily support the growth and expansion of my own gym. And so, folks, want to segue here, move on into a discussion. Now, late last year, I showed you an example of Orange Theory Fitness, and I mentioned on a few episodes how I just noticed from a marketing standpoint, I saw some elevated activity. It was definitely kind of eye-catching. I see they do a lot of online advertising. I received a direct mail, and I showed you that where they talked about the quit free guarantee. And you'll recall on the last episode, late last year, where I talked about, highlighted Orange Theory Fitness, was I said, whenever I see that elevated increased activity, particularly one for, you don't see a lot, and then all of a sudden it's like, shoo, even pre-COVID. And I said, something's going on. I got to do a deep dive. I got to do a lot of research. And I was so happy and so elated to Club Industry. And I printed this article out, actually, when I was in Louisiana. And so they saved me a lot of time. So I didn't have to spend a lot of time researching this. So I was so happy. But I wanted to follow up and just share some insights with you because Club Industry had this, they highlighted Orange Theory Fitness in their industry news on December 20th. And the article is attributed to Club Industry staff. And it answered some questions for me when I'm thinking, okay, the elevated activity, what's going on? Which obviously never investment advice here, but I'm thinking, are they about to go public, or to file an IPO? Like, what's going on when I see particularly the super increase in terms of the level of marketing? I'm thinking, okay, that signals there's got to be a strong push. There is a strong push for new member acquisition. So what's going on? What's going on here? So anyway, I'm going to read this to you so you'll understand the context of kind of what's going on, and it truly explains what's been going on and why. And I just saw this once again and thought, see, I knew something was going on. I knew it. Just that professional intuition. So let me go on to read the article. L5 Fitness has acquired 112 owned and sub-franchised Orange Theory Fitness Studios, according to an announcement from L5 Capital Partners, an Atlanta-based private equity firm for which L5 Fitness is its franchisee platform. Prior to the purchase, Level 5 had 22 Orange Theory franchises and sub-franchises in Michigan. It also operates Core Power Yoga locations in 6 states, as well as Restore Hyper Wellness Plus cryotherapy locations. The company declined to disclose how many Core Power Yoga and Restore locations it owns. With the purchase, Level 5 acquired and built 8 owned Orange Theory studios and 14 sub-franchise studios in Michigan, 11 owned studios and 50 sub-franchise locations in Illinois, 6 owned studios and 9 sub-franchise units in Utah. Highlighting that repeatedly on purpose. And 5 owned studios and 9 sub-franchised studios in Missouri. Each studio acquisition was strategic in nature, according to the announcement. The Michigan, Illinois, and Missouri acquisitions expand L5's geographic footprint and create a contiguous territory, while the Utah acquisition, listen, here it comes, folks, here it comes. While the Utah acquisition allows L5 to enter a high growth market. All 4 states offer attractive white space for organic growth, the company said. So I'm not going to read the rest of that because that just talks about some more of their holdings, not particularly pertinent to what I'm discussing here. But see, that's why it is so important. You hear me talk about industry analysis, SWOT analyses, situational analyses, background analyses of what is going on in the fitness market, because this particular article, the fact that they highlighted, let me read it again, the Michigan, Illinois, and Missouri acquisitions expand L5's geographic footprint and create a contiguous territory, while the Utah acquisition allows L5 to enter a high growth market. All 4 states offer attractive white space for organic growth, the company said. So, club industry provided some golden nuggets right there in terms of market potential, because everyone can't afford to do expensive market research, market development research, franchise development research, and they let you know right there, based on the research, because again, these equity firms are not interested in just going into areas regardless of what industry they're whatever company they're supporting, or in this particular case Orange Theory Fitness. They're not interested in states where there's no growth potential or low growth potential, right? They are interested in growth areas. Very, very important for what they and private equity groups in general, certainly corporate, it's the corporate locations, regardless of industry, very big on growth. They like to see growth, quarter over quarter, year over year. They are very big on growth, but they let you know Michigan, Illinois, Missouri, Utah. And so wanted to highlight that. So that explains. So the Michigan locations where I'm seeing all of this advertising here, obviously, yes, I'm in Metro Detroit, which is a very populous area. As you heard me allude to a number of times over the years, competitive fitness market, but certainly not a top fitness market like your Chicago, LA, New York. But certainly a lot of opportunity, a lot of potential. But they clearly laid it out, and that's why I said, see, when you read this stuff, it is just so important to just really kind of dissect what are they saying here. But this one, these golden nuggets, a lot of wisdom here. So certainly from a growth and expansion strategy standpoint, they're letting you know Michigan, Illinois, Missouri, Utah has a lot of opportunities specifically set for organic growth. And so had to highlight that. A lot of good information there. It explains the heightened level of advertising, certainly that I've seen here in the last few months, compared to even pre-COVID from Orange Theory Fitness. And so take a look, take a look, take a look, take a look. And the title of this article, I think I forgot to state, was 112 Orange Theory Fitness Studios purchased by L5 Capital Partners. I know I gave you the date. And so, good information, good information. And I read this, of course, during the holidays, and I said, here it is. There we go. The locations now in my state are owned by this private equity group. Totally explains what I've seen and what's been going on. But good information there, certainly from a growth and expansion strategy standpoint too as well. So had to highlight that. Also too, before I forget, wrote myself a little note as I'm discussing fitness trends. And what I'm not going to do is be highlighting, with all due respect, the club industry top 100 clubs for 2021. I've done that historically, years past, but once COVID hit in 2020, I don't know, last year I actually went back to 2018, 2019, because the year, so for example, the club industry top 100 clubs for 2021, it's always a year retroactive. So that means the year was 2020. COVID hit in March, and we know that really upended many things in the fitness industry with gym closures, and it's just my personal and professional opinion. 2020, I'm not highlighting that, a list that was based on that, just my own personal and professional opinion, as I stated. I just don't see it as being fair. It's something I'm not going to be highlighting. You can certainly Google, take a look, see what the top 100 rankings, club rankings were for the year 2020, and they were certainly based on 2021 rankings because it's always a year back. So just didn't want to do that. It was a very tumultuous, arduous time in the fitness industry, and there's just so much struggle, and then thousands of gyms closed. As I talked about the IHRSA report that showed 25% of gyms closed, 30% of studios across the country, and so it just, for me, it's not appropriate for me on Fitness Friday to highlight that. Just a tough time for everyone, and so I'm just going to honor the struggle and the sacrifice of all players in the fitness industry, whether they have survived COVID or not, and I'm just not going to highlight that. So next year, I'll resume highlighting those, and certainly with all due respect to, like I said, the club industry staff, they do a wonderful job, but I'm not going to highlight this year, and I'm going to move on to another article by club industry. Again, when you talk about the SWOT analysis, how important it is in evaluating market potential. And so you hear me talk just over and over again, the opportunities. So we have strengths, weaknesses, internal, opportunities, and threats, external. So yes, we're in the first quarter of 2022. Historically, first quarter, people's New Year's resolutions. I want to get fit. I want to stay fit. I want to lose weight. I want to eat better, whatever the case may be. And so that opportunity, particularly this time of year, is there year after year after year, year after year after year. But as I've alluded to in past episodes, the Center for Disease Control, CDC, released this statistic every year that highlights the unfortunate fact that 2/3 of adults in this country are either overweight or obese. And for it just year after year after year, that figures inching closer to 70%. And so that alone shows that there will always be opportunity, but let me bring balance to this to say, does that mean that all 70% of adults are a potential target for your particular facility or facilities? Absolutely not. The only people who talk about unlimited, untapped potential, you know how I feel about this if you've watched a few of my episodes where I've talked about this, are multi-level marketing scheme companies. And in my opinion, they're always, you have unlimited potential and there's unlimited growth and unlimited income. And that's just absolutely not realistic. We live in a finite world. There's finite opportunity, there's a finite target market. So we've got to be realistic, in those particular instances. So the opportunity is there. So I want to highlight a couple of examples that also reinforce the point, the fact that the opportunities still exist, because that was a challenge with the COVID pandemic with, gyms, closing, not permanently, but the temporary closures, and then there was a whole, oh goodness, are people forgetting about their health? And it was just a very arduous and discouraging time for many in the fitness industry. And so I'm always trying to encourage you, keep on keeping on. The opportunity is there. People are still interested in fitness. People still want to live healthier lives. Is it a tougher sell now? Absolutely, absolutely, but the opportunity is still there. So I want to highlight this club industry article. It also came out during the holidays. See, folks, I've been saving these articles just for Fitness Friday. I leave no stone unturned, even while on vacation. And so the title of this article is Exercising More Regularly is a Top Priority per Survey. This is attributed to club industry staff, and the date on it is December 28th, 2021. I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm going to read a few paragraphs that reinforce this point. Exercising more regularly during the next 6 months to improve their health and wellness is a top priority for 48% of respondents to a survey by Thorne Health Tech, a wellness company. The survey is a basis for the 2021 Wealth, and that is spelled WELLTH, report, and there's a clickable link if you find this article, which explores how the health and wellness priorities of consumers have shifted during COVID-19. 44% say losing weight is their top priority, while 40% say improving nutrition, 39% say improving sleep quality, 37% say reducing stress, 35% say improving energy, 31% say reducing anxiety, and 10% say reducing screen time. Exercise was the top method for how respondents say they plan to improve their stress levels during the next 6 months, with 49% citing exercising more often, while 48% said eating healthier, 39% said more self-care, 28% said more meditation or mindfulness, 23% said dietary supplements or vitamins, and 20% said prescription medications. The COVID-19 pandemic impacted socialization and mental health more than physical health, nutrition, and sleep, according to the survey. Socialization was negatively impacted by the pandemic for 51% of those surveyed, while 16% said the pandemic had a positive impact. 43% said it negatively impacted their mental health, while 17% said it positively affected it. In comparison, 29% said their sleep was negatively affected, 25% said their physical health was impacted, and 19% said their nutrition was impacted. 89% of those surveys have tried to improve at least one aspect of their health in the past 12 months. 74% have tried improving their physical health, 72% their nutrition, 66% their sleep quality, 65% their mental wellness, and 54% their socialization. So I'm not going to read the rest of that, but it goes to show various aspects of health was top of mind. Improving various aspects of health was top of mind for many respondents to this survey, which formed the basis of the 2021 Wealth Report. Certainly take a look at it, but once again, that is very important. Improving health, even during the pandemic, especially during a pandemic, was top of mind for many individuals and remains top of mind for many individuals. So it's so important during the tough times, during the struggle, to remain focused on the mission, to remain focused on the purpose of improving health, wellness, and those two. This is something that will always be there, pandemic or not. So please don't lose sight of that. And truly, at the end of the day, it's about improving health for individuals. And so I want to move on to the second article that I have here, also along similar lines. And the title of this, and it's by Club Industry, going way back to October 5th, 2021. The title of this one is Exercise, Not Weight Loss, Helps Increase Longevity. I'm going to read this one. This is a shorter one, but it makes some very important points that I think we really need to be mindful of. Obese people who exercise and improve their fitness levels lower their risk of premature death and their risk of heart disease to a greater extent than obese people who diet and do not improve their fitness level, according to a recent study. The study, Obesity, this is the title, Obesity Treatment, Weight Loss versus Increasing Fitness and Physical Activity for Reducing Health Risks, reviewed the results more than 200 studies on dieting, weight loss, exercise, metabolic health, and longevity. The analysis of these studies was published in September on iScience, and there's a clickable link there. People who are obese can lower their risk of dying prematurely by 30% or more if they improve their fitness level, whether or not they lose weight. Their risk of premature death can even be lower than normal weight people who are out of shape, according to the study. Obese people who diet to lose weight decrease their risk of premature death by 16%. Although some studies showed that weight loss alone did nothing to decrease the risk, perhaps because people who lose weight through dieting often regain that weight, one of the authors of the report told the New York Times. So there it is. Exercise, exercise, the importance of exercise. That's what it's about, improving health. Exercise is a great way to do that. And folks, the last thing I want to highlight on this episode, and this episode is certainly going to be longer, but what I've decided to do, I'm going to talk about fitness litigation. I have an example next week that I'm going to highlight. I was going to highlight it here at the end of this episode, but it is so important. I'm carving out an entire episode to spend some time going in depth discussing this particular, it's a case study is what I'll call it. So important. So certainly stay tuned for that next week. But I want to close this article, this episode out by highlighting an athletic business article that appeared in the February 2022 edition of this magazine. The title of it is How Peloton Spurred the Indoor Cycling Market. You recall I highlighted Peloton last week, and I've highlighted Peloton a number of times, but last week, particularly as I was talking about adversity, overcoming adversity, dealing with adversity. Peloton, since 2020, has been a roller coaster ride, certainly for Peloton. It's just they've been through a lot and litigation. We won't be discussing that, but it's just been a challenging time for Peloton. But in the midst of all of their adversity and having laid off and let employees go and leadership changes and all of that I highlighted last week. I'm always doing things in the spirit of balance. So while also highlighting their adversity, certainly we can learn from and be encouraged by to keep on keeping on. This week, I'm going to highlight again some of the positive impacts that remain, and certainly from a legacy standpoint, how the impact and their boom that occurred during the 2020 in the midst of the pandemic, how they were going gangbusters for lack of a better term. And to just experience incredible growth. And so it's important, yes, to look at the struggles and the adversity, but also to honor and respect, the legacy and some of the positive lasting impacts that they and their model and their products have had on the fitness industry and certainly, the overall fitness market. So Andy Berg had this article, and I'm not going to read it all. It's a few pages long, these two as well, and I want to highlight these particular paragraphs here because it provides a very good overview in terms of what are some of the lasting impacts that Peloton has had on the market. So let me go ahead and get reading. So it goes on to say, way back in January 2021, as COVID-19 filled hospital beds during the winter resurgence of the pandemic, Carson Daly of the Today Show did a profile of Alex Toussaint, one of Peloton's most popular cycling instructors. It was a significant moment for the indoor cycling market as it elevated an on-demand instructor to the brink of celebrity, just as bricks and mortar fitness and cycling studios were grappling with how to reopen while keeping their customers and staff safe and comfortable. The Peloton phenomenon has been extensively covered in the media. The company began back in 2014 with a connected exercise bike that allowed users access to on-demand classes. 3 years later, in 2017, Peloton had a modest 100,000 subscribers. Today, the company boasts 6.2 million members, 51 instructors, and 805.2 million in revenue in its first quarter of 2022. As for its growth during the pandemic, Peloton added 3.3 million members in the period from March 2020 to June 2021. And if you tried to purchase a Peloton bike in January of last year, you understood firsthand this meteoric growth, as you likely had to wait anywhere from 12 to 16 weeks for delivery, with wait times exacerbated by high demand and supply chain issues. After reading this tale of near overnight market domination, you'd be forgiven for thinking traditional cycling studios would despise Peloton for stealing members from their facilities. Here we go, folks. Here it is. The reality, however, is quite the opposite, as the flashy Peloton experience has introduced millions around the world to the joys of indoor cycling, and in doing so, grown the market for Peloton's competitors. The question now is how to best serve this legion of aspiring cyclists looking to get on a bike and go nowhere. And so it talks, of course, I'm not gonna, there's just so much here. This could really be its own episode. But again, fitness facilities, traditional brick and mortar fitness facilities have also benefited. Again, because of the Peloton. And so people recognize, particularly when gyms were closed, I want to stay connected. They've got the bike, but they've got the instructor-led classes and have this large following. But then when gyms reopened, and research and studies have shown, many people said, okay, that's been great, but I want to go back to the gym. I talked last week about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how important that aspect of belonging, and people miss that. And I want to go to a gym, I miss my peeps, to borrow from the vernacular, I miss my peeps, I miss my instructors, I miss my classes. And so that is something that has been undeniable. So there has been an overall growth. Peloton, as that article alluded to, there's been an overall growth and interest and awareness of indoor cycling. That was certainly, Peloton has a big role in that overall, increase, interest, participation. But that is something, that is an opportunity that was certainly, helped that Peloton helped to create. There's certainly heightened interest and demand and classes and all of that. But that's something, this is an opportunity that anyone with indoor cycling classes has the opportunity to leverage and take advantage of, this interest in indoor cycling. Because once the gym doors open, I want to go back to my own class. I want to go back to, being with my peeps, as they say. And so we always want to remember the opportunity is there. The opportunity to positively impact lives remains. It's just a matter of what are you going to do to fine-tune your focus and improve members' health, possibly improve prospective members' health, because that's truly what it's about. It's truly what it's about. And so brick and mortar facilities took a very arduous time, continues to be an arduous time, because with the Omicron variant, when those numbers spiked back up, there was research that showed that, hey, many people were kind of backing away from gyms again. And so folks, stay encouraged. And that's why this concept of adversity and overcoming adversity is something I come back to, constantly, because this is just a reality. This is a fundamental aspect of life that we just cannot get rid of, period. It's just going to be there. There is no eradicating adversity, because life is more like this, ups and downs. There are no exceptions to that. And so once we're comfortable with the aspect of, hey, I'm going to have storms in life, I'm going to have adversities, but guess what? I am committed to overcome each and every one of them. I'm going to do whatever I need to do within ethical bounds, within moral bounds, and treat people right, to overcome and make things happen. That's the mindset that we need to have. That is the mindset that we need to have, folks. So just don't lose sight of that fact. No matter how tough things are, no matter how tough things get, now or in the future, stay rooted and stay focused and stay grounded on that purpose. See, folks, that's why I love what I do. And I'm going to close this episode out certainly with just making these final thoughts. That's why I love what I do. The ability to bring balance and hope and encouragement, like last week, but also in that balance, the ability to be honest. Like last week, when I talked to you about the launch, it's here. It's here. Pure Fitness, coming from Europe. All right, first location in Virginia. First location. And so if you missed last week's episode, bam, they are offering the ability to freeze, cancel, and rejoin their facilities, their chain of facilities, with a click of a button on the app. Members doing it themselves. That is in my opinion, yes, the coronavirus pandemic, that will be unparalleled. I mean, there's nothing that's going to, in my opinion, in the fitness industry, ever compete with the challenge and the pressure that the coronavirus has put on the fitness industry in terms of, gyms being closed and gyms losing members and all of that. Tremendous threat. But right behind it, in my seasoned opinion, well-researched opinion, the ability for a member to manage their own membership, including cancellations, is huge. Is huge, and it's here. And I talked about this last week, but I predicted it, during the pandemic, because I've studied this issue and just industry perceptions, fitness industry perceptions, and how cancellations have dogged the industry for decades. I mean, it is a problem that is undeniable. And now you've got Pure Fitness coming from Europe saying, bam, unique selling proposition. We have the opportunity. Members have an opportunity to, bam, cancel their membership, the click of a button, which I refer to as the Amazonification, part of the reflection or an example of the Amazonification of just overall society. People want to be able to just be done with something and no drama, no hassle, no fight, and just the constant, the repetitive billing that happens after people cancel. It is just something that just has to be addressed. And certainly that particular chain allowing members to handle that on their own is a very big threat. If you didn't pick up on that when I highlighted that last week, it's big. All right, and they have plans for national expansion, obviously through their own corporate locations as well as potentially franchising, as I highlighted last week. Very big threat. So they are getting their start here in the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. You can see that part of the country. That's where they're launching. And if we take a panoramic view, that's why I love what I do. Yes, they're opening in the DMV. Okay, but when you take a panoramic view of that, and you could say, okay, so what are some of the other key considerations looking at that? They're launching in that particular market. So that area is well known. A lot of government workers, a lot of members of Congress, a lot of congressional staffers reside in that area. Undeniable, that's a fact. So what you're going to have is a lot of folks that are working for the government, affiliated for the government, working for Congress, they're staffers from different states across the country, living in that area. Many people commute back and forth. Many congressional staffers commute back and forth to the districts that they represent. And so you're going to have this, once the awareness over time gets really high, well, hold on, now we got this chain that allows us, we don't have to go through any drama with canceling our memberships. So you're going to have a highly influential segment of the population that disperses to areas across the country to say, and they go back to their respective states and districts and all of that, and all of a sudden, they're hearing from constituents, and they're starting to see some high pro. I'm going to talk about that example of fitness litigation around this, and we saw class actions during the COVID pandemic where gyms were still closed and charging members monthly, and it was just really ugly. So we had class action litigation, and in state attorneys general getting involved in complaints and in various states. So it got really, really ugly. And so you have all of this now going on. You have highly influential lawmakers in many cases now potentially being exposed to becoming members of, hearing about through word of mouth, seeing advertising potentially. I don't know what their marketing plan is of what is this pure fitness. What you mean? You just cancel? You just open the app up and be done, and that's it? So you're going to have this influence, this word of mouth, kind of going across the country, and in an alternate way in terms of just advertising with traditional marketing means. And so you're going to have some highly influential people potentially getting involved and becoming members of, saying, hold on, like, this is a new paradigm. This is a new way of doing business. A paradigm has shifted. You're giving members an opportunity to be done, and to really be done with no drama, with the click of a button in the app. So highly influential segment of the population right there in the DMV area. Government workers, lawmakers, congressional staffers. It's really, really interesting. So when I saw where their initial footprint in the U.S. and launching in the U.S. here in 2022 is, I said, oh, that's very interesting where they launch right there in that particular market. Yes, a lot of market potential there in that area, but also too, from an influence standpoint, you're going to have people that are traveling back to various states saying, hold on. What do you mean? People are, now we've got all this drama going on with people trying to cancel memberships, and this entity is saying, oh, it's the easier way, and I'm experiencing an easier way, or I've heard about an easier way now. So we have to take a panoramic view when we're looking at key issues. And that's why I love what I do, is look at it from various standpoints. Something I didn't specifically, I hope you caught it last week, but let me be very direct and say, I hope you caught it last week. And I kind of pointed this out and indirectly, because again, I can't just sit here and just give just consulting, just be 100% flat out consulting. I can't do that. But I like to just give you indirect, I like to say things indirectly so you can reach your own conclusions, so you can figure things out, all right? That's always been my philosophy from day one. I'm generous, but I'm not foolish in terms of how I handle these episodes and expertise and insight. And so one thing that I certainly alluded to last week was when I was reading about, that the initial announcement that they were coming, and it went on that they're going to their Pure Fitness, and let me ad lib here because I don't remember exactly what the exact quote was, but I remember the gist of it. But Pure Fitness is going to be disruptive to the U.S. market in the following ways. And I read off some different things about, the app and the number of instructors and classes and all of this and that. But out of all of that, I said, okay, the one truly disruptive aspect is the ability for members to cancel, freeze, and rejoin via the app. That was truly disruptive. But the rest of it, the courses and having no contracts and $9.99 a month, and like I alluded to last week, specifically stated, okay, other people are doing the same thing. But what I was trying to point to indirectly, and I'm very directly in saying this now, that's why it's very important from a competitive analysis standpoint to say, okay, what competitive advantage do we truly have in this situation? And I mentioned this in a number of episodes ago, but when you do competitive analysis, you'll quickly realize, many entities in the fitness industry and outside of the fitness industry say the same thing. Okay, everyone thinks they're revolutionary. Everyone thinks it's just very, very common. Very, very common. People think that everyone thinks that they're number one, and everyone thinks that they're market changing, and everyone thinks this and that. We have this to offer that no one else is. And so that's why it's very important, and it's something that from a Fitness Friday standpoint, I'm very careful about, is if I'm about to say an entity, a chain, a gym or something is truly revolutionary and it's just shifting the paradigm, I've got to make sure that that it is absolutely true when I say that. All right, so I've got to do my own research and know enough background information to say, hold on. Like, okay, from a competitive, other people have the same positioning. Other people are saying the same thing. Like, this isn't truly, once in a lifetime opportunity, or just something that's truly going to change the market dynamic. So I'm just saying that humbly, and I'm just saying that respectfully, that we always have to be mindful of recognizing that other people, when you claim that, we're going to do this and no one else is doing it, and we have this and no one else offers it, a very at least a good hour or two of competitive research and competitive analysis will often show you that that is absolutely not the case. Small and large players are doing the absolute same thing. And I'm just saying that respectfully, that just, do your homework, do your research. So when you're saying we're offering this, we're the only one in the market doing this, we're the only one offering this, regardless of what it is, a class, a membership, a cost, whatever, you will quickly find that there are others doing the same thing. So it's just important to be mindful of that. And that's why I specifically stated last week, yes, canceling memberships at the click of a button on an app, there you go. There's your unique selling proposition. That is highly disruptive. All right, but the other things, other players are doing the absolute same thing. All right, so just be mindful of that. And so that's why I just love what I do, just being balanced and recognizing, yes, that is highly disruptive. That is something that the market needs, and I'm following that. There's going to be a longitudinal research on my end, saying their launch and just how, if they have uptake from franchisees, potential franchisees, how are they going to feel about the potential franchisee and franchise developers? How are potential franchisees going to feel about the potential for members to just say, bing, I'm done at the click of a button? Fascinating to me. So that's why this is going to be a long-term longitudinal study for me to just see, how is this going? How is this launch going to go? Where's their market expansion going to take them? It's just fascinating to me. So I'm happy to see that this is happening, and it's a very big threat, and I don't deny that, because like I stated last week, that with them coming into the DMV for right now, all right, but they're going to be expanding nationally. So the markets in which they operate, the competitors, when the word gets out that, okay, I don't have to be in a contract and I can manage my own membership on my own, that is a very big threat. I mean, I cannot make it any more direct to you. That is a very big threat. And so it's very important now to just evaluate, what am I doing now? What is there anything I would change? But it's all about member retention. That's always been the name of the game. That has always been not taking members for granted, just doing things right, being right. But this is something, this whole members and finding a hard time canceling, and just, like I told you last week how I did this, 2017 and 2019. I was at Planet at the time, and just doing this separate research project, and just industry perceptions is a very big challenge around this cancellation. So the ability for a player to come in and solve that problem, to meet that need, is very, very important. And I respect that, I honor that, and I'm watching very closely of how this is going to play out. But also the balance of the situation, which I showed you last week. I kind of laughed at myself last week to say, when I was reading their values, the values that were in the sign in the bathroom when I did the 360-degree tour, which I do with a lot of different facilities. See, folks, that's all part of industry research, just knowing your stuff. I mean, it's so easy to have tunnel vision. Your gym, your facility, your chain is the only one. No, have enough confidence to look outside, to look around you. And I've talked about this last fall during the confidence episodes, leadership development. Because why? The less confidence you have, the harder it is for you to be able to look around. When you think that you're exclusively offering something, and you look around and do a little competitive analysis and realize, bam, no, you're not. So just the balance of that, when I read the last one that said that the value of, we must be nice to one another, and I told you, well, that just, and that's the thing, when you have some maturity like me, the maturity and just the wisdom to know yourself, and I don't lie to myself, and that's part of the reason why I'm so happy. People are like, why are you so happy, Rachelle? You're just so happy and so upbeat and so positive. Folks, I don't like, when I was 20, yeah, I used to lie to myself, and just from the standpoint of, yeah, I can do this, and it's going to be okay, and this and that. And just to see that value of we must be nice to one another. And I said, no, that is absolutely not me. I'm not committed to being, because guess what? Inherent in that, and that's the reason why I was like, no, this is not in my future. Pure fitness is not in my future. And so, because why? I know myself. Because and you're saying be nice to one another. I'm a very nice person. I mean, that's just, people call me sweet, people call me kind. But in a gym, you have to understand, folks, I am there to work out. I'm there. It is not a social activity. I'm not there to make friends. I'm not there to, be anybody's buddy. I'm not there to be anybody's motivator. I'm not there. I'm there to work out and nothing else. I am not there to socialize. So from day one, May 17th, 1994, I have had 0 workout partners. 0. Various gyms across, I've had different memberships in different states, been to gyms outside the U.S. and in the U.S. I've been to a lot of gyms. All right. And it's just, that is my me time. I made that decision early on. That is my me time. So if, implying socialization and all of that, and that's just not my thing. That is just not my thing. So I'm there. I have 0 interaction, none. But that's just me. But years ago, back in Barksdale, when I first started, again, I didn't have the level of confidence that I have now to be secure in that. Like, hey, I want to do my own thing. I want to be left alone. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to be interrupted. Bam, that's what it is. But back then, back in Barksdale, okay, well, guess what? Guys will come up talking to me, and I'm sitting here just, eating up the fact that, the validation that they think I'm fit, and they're giving me compliments, and don't need that now. If I don't already know I'm fit, but now I have boundaries. Again, now I'm just not this people pleaser where I'm going to sit here and talk to somebody while I'm on a cardio machine. No, leave me alone. So that's my philosophy. So with all due respect, from a marketing standpoint, I just see things and I'm like, not happening, inside and outside the fitness industry. And so it is what it is. So just the ability to provide balance in situations like, yeah, go ahead. This is great. This is be a good thing, Pure Fitness for the U.S. fitness market. But also, I don't have a future with this particular, with Pure Fitness. But at the same time, showing honor and showing respect and moving forward from there, folks. So I'm just here to provide you the truth, to provide information, and to recognize that I have a professional responsibility to bring you the truth, to highlight, regardless of where I am, regardless of what gym I have a membership, I'm a member of, rather. So it's important for me, again, to be objective, to say, hey, let me highlight, let me show props and respect to other facilities just as much as I would my own, Edge Fitness. And I'm here, I am pro-fitness, I am pro-industry. So I'm always going to bring you the message, to bring you thoughts and insight and analysis and news and late-breaking news sometimes. But it's all about helping to elevate leaders within the fitness industry to be the best that they can be. That's truly what it's about at the end of the day, folks. So that is all I have for you today. I cannot wait for next week because I'm having, again, the panoramic view. Going to have a new direction for some episodes I'll sprinkle in throughout the year. We're going to talk specifically a case study next week on litigation, fitness litigation, and it is not involving cancellations or anything during the COVID pandemic. This is a big one, folks. This is a big one, and I cannot wait until next week because we are going to dig deep. We're going to take a look. We're going to recognize how can we all learn and grow from this. This is all about learning, growth, and development, folks. But stay tuned for next week. But until then, remember, I am positively passionate about your fitness, success, and leadership. Make it a great